Hi, my name is Lyric, and today we're going to be reacting to a video that, well, this specific video wasn't requested to me, but a player was requested to me, and that is David Thompson. Now, a lot of young people do not know about David Thompson, but he is one of the most interesting figures in NBA history to me, because as the title of the video I'm going to watch explains, he was the idol to Michael Jordan. I don't know much about him, though. I know he played for the Denver Nuggets. I know that he once scored 70 points in a game. And I know he was one of the greatest scorers of his era, but I think his career derailed by, cocaine addiction. Unless I'm thinking of some other players from that time. I think so. We're going to watch this Mike Korzemba video. He's one of my favorite NBA YouTubers, called Michael Jordan based his game on him. So what happened? This is going to be very interesting learning about David Thompson. Was he really Jordan before Jordan? What could he have became? And what held him back? Like, I know he never made a finals or anything, so I was wondering if he held it back. How good was his teammates? Did he play any other teams in the Denver Nuggets? I'm really fascinated on this, and I was gonna react to a highlight video, but we'll just see highlights in this. And if you guys want me to do a whole video on David Thompson highlights, then we'll do that. This has been requested several times. Anything you request, I put it on a list, and we'll probably do, unless I don't think it's something that I really have insight on. So let's begin, and yeah, let's go. The whole measuring of vertical leap began with David Thompson from Michael Jordan. All right.
What's up, guys? Mike here, and today we're looking at a player I've wanted to talk about for a long time, because Michael Jordan himself has said that growing up he idolized David Thompson. There was a time where it looked like David Thompson had a chance to become a top 10 player in NBA history, but then of course something went wrong. So that's what we're gonna dive into today, guys. Before that, I
like Mike Korzemba's video because I think he tells the stories really well.
Say, make sure to leave a like if you like this video. It helps out a ton. And
same to my video. Obviously, go right to his original video before I watch mine.
On so you do not miss a video. And for now, let's jump into this video. Michael Jordan is considered by many, including me, to be the greatest basketball player in NBA history.
Definitely including me as well.
As you guys all know, the way that Jordan captivated the imagination of NBA fans around the world needs no introduction. But what might be little known is who Jordan's biggest influence was, because there is a player that Michael Jordan has stated multiple times that was his basketball idol. A player who was actually one of the most talented players to ever step foot on a basketball court,
David Thompson.
Ultimately had his...
Question for you guys in the comments. Do you think David Thompson is the greatest Denver Nugget of all time?
Career cut short. And
if not, where would you rank him among Denver Nuggets players?
We might never have seen the full version of Michael Jordan. And so at this point, instead of keeping you guys hanging, I am going to introduce to you the man, the myth, the legend, David Thompson, aka a player who went by the name of Skywalker. Because although
that's a great nickname,
short by basketball standards, David Thompson had a 44-inch vertical jump, a precise shooting touch, and lightning quick speed. Rumor has it that
these highlights are insane, especially for the time. They remind me of Dr. J, who played it on the same time.
Was even able to knock a quarter off the top of a backboard. And in college,
Wilt Chamberlain type beat
at NC State, David Thompson would establish himself as one of the greatest players college basketball has ever seen. In his 3 seasons, he would average a combined 26.8 points per game.
Dang, bro, y'all really didn't track assists, huh, in college? What's wrong with you?
55.3% from the field. An insane stat line considering that
his height.
He was a 6'2" shooting guard. And
that's
during
nuts.
his career in college,
to be that good of a dunker at that height, especially that era of the NBA with more interior defense, is actually insane.
They have actually attributed the popularity of the alley-oop to David Thompson.
Wow,
as during
I didn't know that.
Practice, David Thompson's point guard tossed the ball in the air to Thompson, and after a monster dunk, Thompson's own head coach had to stop practice to share his amazement. That is how athletic David Thompson was, and looking at practice to share his amazement. That is how
look at this rebound. This man's head's at the rim. Man's a guard. He just jumped and his head was at the rim. What the hell?
And looking at his college,
that wasn't even like a dunking job. He just jumped out through the rebound.
His sophomore season, as NC State would lose just 1 game and looked like legitimate championship favorites until this play. Yes, you can see that
Whoa.
while hanging in the air, Thompson would come down crashing hard and was actually
That looks really bad.
unconscious at one point. Many
Whoa.
people watching this play thought that Thompson's career was in serious jeopardy, but miraculously, he would not even miss a single game, and then came the Final Four. Because in the Final Four, NC State matched up against Bill Walton and UCLA. Now, if you don't know,
Bill Walton's one of the greatest college basketball players of all time.
UCLA was the powerhouse of college basketball at the time, and were in the middle of a streak in which they won 7 straight national championships. 7. And from 1971 to 1974, UCLA won 88 consecutive games in a row. To this day, college basketball has not seen a dynasty quite like the Bruins had, but the Bruins streak would come to an end in the Final Four thanks to the play of David Thompson. Thompson would score 28 points and pull down 10 boards and hit the game-winning shot in double overtime. Bill Walton would say about this loss over 40 years later, quote, "That failure has plagued me and it is a stigma on my soul and there's no way I can get rid of it."
I've seen, I've heard that quote. Creighton Crowley is one of the greatest NBA YouTubers. His video on Bill Walton is one of the greatest videos I've ever seen. If you guys want me to react to it, even though I've already seen it, just to comment on it, leave it in the comment section below.
Walton went on to say that the only player John Wooden ever mentioned by name in the scouting report from the NC State team before that Final Four game was David Thompson. That is how good he was. So in that year, NC State would win the national championship, and in 1975, David Thompson would become the #1 overall pick of both the ABA and NBA draft. It was a tough decision of what league to go to for David, but after the Atlanta Hawks decided to have their contract meeting with him in a McDonald's, Thompson was off to the ABA, and in his first and only ABA season, he would have one of the greatest rookie seasons in professional basketball history, because as a rookie, he averaged 26 points, 6.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 1.6 steals, and 1.2 blocks a game. And yes, I understand he was playing in the ABA, but there was still a lot of
the ABA was just as good as the NBA.
Talent in the ABA at the time, and when you look at this stat line, only 3 other players in ABA/NBA history were ever able to accomplish this. Here's the chart. The 3 other players are Larry Bird, Julius Erving, and David Robinson. With this said, Thompson also lost the first dunk contest ever and the 1976 ABA Finals to Julius Erving, but despite this, and despite the fact that many people in the NBA at the time thought that it was going to be Dr. J who had the biggest impact of the NBA/ABA merger, it was actually David Thompson who came to the NBA and made the biggest impact. As in the 1977 season, Thompson led the Nuggets to 50 wins and was just 22 years old. He did this while also averaging around 26 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds per game.
Bro, his vertical is so nuts.
In his first season in the NBA. And at this point, at least, Thompson was not...
What was that first team? Kareem, Hayes, Maravich, Westfall, and David Thompson. I'm gonna do a Pete Maravich reaction. You guys have requested that.
In his first season in the NBA. And at this point, at least, Thompson was not done yet. As in the 1978 season, he would average a career-high 27.2 points per game and finish 3rd in the MVP voting, 1 spot ahead of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. At this point, he was just 23 years old. And when it comes down to it, Thompson has a very legitimate argument of being the best shooting guard in the history of the NBA at 23 years old. And if you don't believe me, you have to remember that Michael Jordan broke his foot when he was 23 years old, so he's out of the equation here. But as for the rest of the great shooting guards, this chart really shows it all. At 23, David Thompson was clearly ahead of Kobe, Allen Iverson, and Tracy McGrady. The only player I would put right there with Thompson was Dwayne Wade, but again, Thompson finished 3rd in the MVP voting that season and was named first team All-NBA to Wade's second team. Let's emphasize the fact here that Thompson was a back-to-back All-NBA first team selection in his first 2 seasons in the league. This was a huge deal. Not even Michael Jordan.
Do you guys think David Thompson was the greatest athlete in the NBA at that time?
or LeBron James has done
He's
this,
looking
and
like
what
it.
made
Golly.
David Thompson even more impressive was that he put up individual stats while also playing a very team-oriented style of basketball. This was demonstrated by the 50 wins in Thompson's first season, and by the fact that in 1978, Thompson's second season, Denver would actually become the first former ABA team to win a playoff series before falling to Seattle in the conference.
Who were his
finals.
teammates?
This is also demonstrated in a quote by Thompson's former teammate and Hall of Fame player Dan Izzo, who stated, "All of
Dan
his
Izzo.
teammates
I
loved
don't know
him
about him.
because he helped you win games, and he was the type of player that made everyone on the court better, not a player who subtracted from everyone else on the team to get his stats." On top of this, we have yet to mention that during the 1978 season, Thompson would score 73 points against the Detroit Pistons. On that night, he also scored 32 points in the first quarter, had
Oh my
53
God.
points at halftime, and had people legitimately believing that he was going to break 100 points for the night. To this day, that is the most points scored in an NBA game by a player not named Wilt Chamberlain or Kobe Bryant. And at this point,
73,
you have to
bro.
be asking the question, what went wrong? Because after the 1978
I need to- is there
season,
footage of that
Thompson's
game? I need to
value
react
was
to
at
it.
an all-time high, and at just 23 years old, the Denver Nuggets would make David Thompson the highest paid player in NBA history at the time. Which means, here we are.
How does it all come
Thompson is
crashing
on top
down
of the
then?
basketball world. He's the highest paid player in the NBA. By all accounts, it looks like he is going to be one of the best players that basketball has ever seen. However, it was at this point that things began to spiral. With this huge contract and with the rise of drugs in the NBA, suddenly David Thompson's career fell off tremendously.
So it was what I was saying,
As it
right?
turns out, the 1978 season would be the last season that Thompson was not only named first team All-NBA, but named any type of All-NBA altogether. And
Wow.
after a combination
That's
of
crazy,
drug
that fall
use
off.
and injuries took their toll, by the time he was just 27 years old, Thompson was averaging under 15 points per game.
That's insane, the fall off. 26 a game the year before and then goes to 15.
And had clearly established himself as one of the biggest disappointments to ever play in the NBA. That is a rough statement to make, I know,
Damn.
but it's true. This is a man who had all of the potential in the world, and unfortunately, he would let drugs ruin everything. And right now, I do want to credit Bill Simmons here, because the charts I showed you guys earlier were from Bill Simmons' book of basketball, and now let's look at another chart. Here is a projection of what Bill Simmons thought David Thompson's career might look like if drugs were not a problem. Yes, you can see here on this chart, if Thompson were to develop like a normal NBA All-Star were to develop without a drug problem, he would suddenly find himself averaging well over 30 points per game in back-to-back seasons, and from there, who knows, the sky was really the limit. I mean, at this point, Thompson would seriously be on pace to be a top 20 player in NBA history, but it
I would
just
not be shocked,
never
bro. That
happened.
start was
And
nuts.
if Thompson was fully healthy and off drugs, it is insane to think just how different the 1980s would be with Thompson in his prime. We would have seen David Thompson battling against Magic, Bird, Dr. J, Kareem, and eventually Michael Jordan as Denver competed.
Would he have teamed up with Alex English? Because I know Alex English was like one of the most prolific scorers of the 80s. He actually led the 80s all time in scoring, which is actually crazy to lead an entire decade in scoring and not even be named NBA 75. I think he was really snubbed there. Would he been would he been able to team up with him? Because that'd be a good duo.
For NBA titles
Kiki
right
Vandeweghe as well?
alongside the Lakers, Celtics, and Sixers. Unfortunately, though, we will never know how successful David Thompson's career would have been, and in my opinion, he will remain arguably the greatest basketball what-if story right next to Len Bias. With this entire story done, though,
I think
do
Bill
wanna
Walton
say,
as
thankfully,
well
there
could be in
is
that
a happy
category.
ending. David Thompson is now 30-plus years sober, and even
Hey,
after
let's
his
go.
downfall, he still remains
Congratulations
Michael
to him, man.
Jordan's idol. As Jordan himself has said,
I think it elevated through the years when it got to me. I took it another step, and now you got kids who are taking it even on a higher scale. So it's a little David Thompson in all of us.
And there we have it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed this one. I've wanted to tell this story.
I did enjoy that. That was a good video. I think explaining one of his career. Good introduction to David Thompson. I want you to do more videos on him. Please write in the comments, because I think this is a really interesting player to learn about, and I think he's underrated by a lot of people, because I barely ever hear about him. Guy scored 73 in the game. Absolutely insane. So, yeah. Bye.